Today's episode was inspired by one of our listeners, Mac. I don't even know how to begin today's story. It is so earth-shatteringly exciting that I can barely find the words. I went back and forth on how to explain what a big deal today was for Froggy and his friends, but I couldn't think of a way to do it justice. So instead, I'm just going to tell you. Are you sitting down? Are you holding onto your hat? Are you even wearing a hat? If not, find one, put it on, and hold on to it, because today, Froggy the Gator was going on a hot air balloon ride. I know, I told you it was incredible, but it's even more incredible than you imagined, isn't it? I felt the same way when I first heard about it, but it's true. Every word. Froggy the Gator, Wormbird, Mr. Hummus, Tomato Hedgehog, and Pterodactyl were going with Froggy's mom on a hot air balloon ride. This was something that had its genesis. Genesis means the beginning, the starting point. So this idea had its genesis, or its beginning, when Froggy mentioned to his mom how much he wanted to try a hot air balloon. He'd imagined about them before when he went to the Gator Grove Hot Air Balloon Festival, which you can listen to that episode if you'd like, but today he was actually going to ride one. Now, I get goosebumps just telling you this story because it really is that special. So Froggy had told his mom how much he wanted to ride in a hot air balloon, and Mommy the Gator, always adventurous, had found a place in town that did safe rides for families. It was called Gator Grove Adventures, and they allowed families and kids to ride in their balloons, provided they were strapped in safely, of course, and Mommy the Gator knew it would be perfect to take Froggy and his friends on this adventure. Now, in case you're wondering, unfortunately, they also have a strict height requirement for riding, so Baby the Gator was not allowed to attend. But all of the other kids were piled in Mommy the Gator's car on the way to the hot air balloon takeoff center. When they got there, they were immediately taken aback by what they saw. There must have been 100 hot air balloons at this place. They were all lined up and deflated, but they were incredible to behold nonetheless. "Wow," said Froggy to his friends, "look at that big red one." "Well, I like the yellow and green one," Pterodactyl said. Look how cool that one is." "I really like this one over here," Mr. Hummus shouted, as he pointed toward a hot air balloon that, believe it or not, was kind of shaped like a cat, with big cat ears. It was pink and white, and it had a cat face and everything. The group was really happy to just go around and look at all of the great balloons. But before they knew it, one of the instructor guides had come over and started talking to them. "Welcome, everybody. My name is Airy, and I'm your hot air balloon instructor today. I can see we have some enthusiastic first-time riders with us. Well, don't worry, we've got you all covered this afternoon. And first things first," Airy said, "you need to pick out the balloons you'll be riding." So the group all started overlooking the balloons again, and they had to make the difficult decision of what they'd be riding in. "I'm gonna take this green and red one," Mr. Hummus said. "And I'm gonna take the yellow and green one naturally," Froggy said to his friends. Wormbird found a really cool tan and red and yellow one that he liked, and Pterodactyl and Tomato Hedgehog were going to share a balloon since Tomato Hedgehog barely fit the height requirement, and they found a tan one that they really liked. "Okay, great, everybody," Airy said. "Now, because you guys are young, you aren't going to be going up high in these balloons by yourselves. We'll save the higher flight for later, but we'll go a few feet off the ground in the balloons you've selected so you can see what it's like. Ready?" Then Airy discussed some safety precautions, the most important ones being no sudden movements, which was difficult for the kids, but they were able to follow directions, and make sure you always stay buckled. "Just like in the car," Froggy said, to which his mother smiled and nodded approvingly. So all of the friends got their balloons, and Airy went one by one and helped lift them off the ground. They only went a few feet off the ground in these balloons since, like we said, this was their solo flight and they didn't want to go too high since they were just kids after all, but that didn't make the experience any less magical. "Wow," said Froggy, "I can see my house from up here." He couldn't, but we know Froggy likes to use his imagination. "I feel like a bird," he said. "I feel like an airplane. This is incredible." Mr. Hummus chimed in, "I can't believe we're all the way up here in these hot air balloons. This is one of, if not the, best day ever." Wormbird was maybe the least enthusiastic since he was no stranger to flying, given his bug wings and all, but even he was enchanted by the experience. "I've never flown so effortlessly before," he said. "Usually I have to flap my bug wings, but now I'm just kind of standing here." So they all enjoyed the view from their individual balloons for a few minutes, with Mommy the Gator waiting somewhat nervously on the ground until it was time for the big balloon. "All right, everybody," said Airy. "Now that you've gotten a feel for what it's like in a balloon, who's ready to ride in a big balloon up a little higher with me?" "We are, the friends all exclaimed in unison, which, if you'll recall, means at the same time. So the group all walked over to the big balloon. And it was big enough that it had room for all of them inside the basket. And one by one they walked on, buckled their safety harnesses, and eagerly awaited for Airy to take off. And with a huge gush of power from the propane burner, that's the thing that fills the balloon up with heat and allows them to soar into the sky, because the hot air is warmer than the cold air, which means it displaces the colder air, which kind of means it takes its place, which is why it rises, because the warm air molecules are less dense or less heavy than the cold air molecules, because they're moving faster and they're spreading out due to the increased heat energy, which is what makes the balloons go up high. So with a huge gush of power from the propane burner, they were off. They soared higher and higher, maybe 1,000,000 feet into the air, Froggy estimated, until they looked out and saw almost all of Gator Grove. "Hey, I can really actually see my house from here," Froggy said this time, perhaps more credibly, and the group soared around the sky, looking at the land below and having one of the best days they had ever had. On the way back home, Mommy the Gator said, "You know, everyone, seeing the world from up high like that always gives me perspective. It makes the little things during the day seem less significant, and it helps me see the bigger picture. It helps me see what's really important. And to me, that's you, Froggy, that's your brother, and that's spending time doing fun things together as a family and with your friends." "Well, that sounds pretty good," Froggy the Gator said, as he and his friends enjoyed the ride home, thinking about their incredible hot air balloon adventure. The end. And hey everybody, this is Harrison, the creator of Froggy the Gator, and I wanted to let you know again about some really big news. I've joined Sherwood. And if you don't know, Sherwood is an app where you can read and watch thousands of great books, audiobooks, and shows, all approved by us, so you know they're safe and you know they're always ad-free. And Froggy the Gator has a prominent home on the platform as well. If you want to try out Sherwood, you can ask your parents to click the link in the podcast description of this episode, or you can all go together to sherwoodkids.com. Until next time, we'll talk soon.